wanted to talk about the second verse in the Bible because I look at it differently than I used to. I didn't really break down the words before and what they meant. So I just want to talk about that real quick because I think that very clearly there's a shroud, whatever you want to call it, a blanket, a sea of darkness that covers the earth. And in my understanding, that's why God put the sun, moon, and stars in that darkness to give light upon the earth. Okay? And also he said, let there be light, and there was light. But in the first verse in the Bible, it says, God created the heavens and the earth. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So there's two different places that he created. The heavens, which are the Shamayim, which is the sky, and above the sky. And then the earth, which is where we live, where the ground is. The ground is where the earth is. It's beneath our feet. We walk on it. We live on it. But in the second verse, it says, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. So there's some things to pay attention to that I'm learning is that word deep, that means a deep sea abyss. So there's an abyss of darkness in the second verse in the Bible. An abyss of darkness, okay? And it was there was darkness upon the face of that abyss. Upon the face of the deep. So, if we're paying attention, the next thing that it says is the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Well, from the rest of the Bible, we know that God's in heaven, and he has a throne there, and he sits upon that throne. And a lot of people don't believe that anymore. They believe that God has left his throne or something, but he hasn't. And so, just very simply, the cosmology of those first couple verses, well, God's above everything. It said the Spirit of God was moving upon the face of the waters. So, upon the face of the waters would mean, to me, that would mean on top of them, above them. And those waters, the darkness upon the face of the deep, those waters are dark waters. And in Psalm 18 it says, dark waters and thick clouds of the skies. So, darkness is dark waters. Even if NASA thinks it's a vacuum, it's not a vacuum. It's a place of nothing. Absent of light, absent of everything. It's a place of nothing. It's darkness. Obscurity. Darkness. Very simple. But when people talk about Sheol or hell, and they think it's like a physical place beneath the earth, they're just not thinking about what the Bible is saying. I mean, in the second verse in the Bible talks about a place of darkness above the earth. It's a place of darkness between earth and God. So, I don't think it should be too shocking when we learn that that darkness is actually outer darkness, which is actually not a part of the earth. It's not on the earth. It's a part of heaven. It's a part of the heavens, and it is the bottom of the heavens. It's underneath God. And maybe the firmament of heaven is that darkness. Because the firmament in my understanding is a place of darkness, because without the sun, moon, and stars there, I think it would be darkness. So anyway, space, like a lot of people say space is fake or whatever, or the description that NASA gives of space is fake. It doesn't exist. I agree with that. Their description is far off, even though they do say things that are true. Like they compare what they call dark matter, they compare that with water, like in analogies, because the visual effects are the same as when we look through water at something. You get kind of that rippling distortion or whatever. And so yeah, I just think that outer darkness is not such a mysterious thing. It's just the night sky. And if you have, if you ask NASA what the properties of an orbit, like when they say they're orbiting a globe, if you ask them what an orbit, like what are the physics of an orbit, they're going to tell you in so many words that orbiting the earth or going to the moon or whatever they think that they've done, they're going to tell you that the whole time that they're there, they're falling, perpetually falling, free falling, 0G. That's why on the space station they just float. Well, that's not part of our reality. That's only part of hell, part of Sheol. They're sinking into Sheol when they go to space. And I really hope that people start to realize that NASA isn't an evil organization that's deceiving other men. Now, I believe what they do is evil, trying to ascend into heaven and exalt their throne above the stars of God. That just says that they're Luciferians, because that's what Lucifer says in his heart, that he will ascend into heaven and he will exalt his throne above the stars of God. So they have a space station, they say, and that's their idea of they call it our orbiting castle in the sky. They call many things like that. I wouldn't be surprised if they called it the kingdom sometime. But the point that I wanted to make is that the place that they call space is a bottomless pit of darkness. And it's also where Jude said the wandering stars were reserved until judgment in the blackness of darkness. So it shouldn't be surprising to people to realize that the waters above, the dark waters above, are the sides of the pit. The sides of the pit. That's what it says in Isaiah 14, when it says what Lucifer says in his heart. It says, I don't remember exactly how it was, but you say in your heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. gonna set his congregation in the sides of the north. The sides of the north. And then it says, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. So all these people that have a desire to explore space are being deceived by the devil into going to hell. And that's what they want. They're gonna fall into darkness. They're gonna sink into Sheol. That's what it says in Enoch 56, the last verse. And that's what I see happening. They're doing it right now. So that's about what I got to say about that. I don't know why people don't understand it, but to me, it's kind of laid out pretty clear in Genesis. There was darkness upon the face of the deep, and darkness is a real thing. So there's that. I just think people are misunderstanding that second verse sometimes and not realizing what it's actually saying. That word deep, that means